Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here, or you've been here before but haven't subscribed yet, please do so, along with dropping your comments and the thumbs ups. Very important. But the comments are even more important to me personally. I love hearing what you guys are thinking, and also I love to hear what your thoughts are on what I'm proposing, or any thoughts you guys have on the Knicks. I read almost all the comments. All right, today we have, it's a special video I'm putting out here. It's to discuss some news, some tweet news that came out from the New York Knicks beat reporters, Mark Berman, Stephen Bondy. They both tweeted this out today. They spoke to Thibs, or heard from Thibs during practice. And here we go. Thibodeau said Cam Reddish is 100% healthy. Said he'll see where he is tomorrow, but cautioned about patience as he has a rotation. Now, he's talking to Cam, but Thibs is also talking to us. I hope he understands that. I hope he does. The fan base. Patience, you say, Thibs. Okay, well, look at Stephen Bondy. He put this out. He said, wouldn't expect many minutes for Cam Reddish if he's available. Thibs said, we have a rotation, so he has to be patient and work his way through that. Well, we have a rotation. Okay. Interesting. Let's move on to the next. Here we go. Then Berman followed that up. Tweeted this out at about 2:05 p.m. East Coast time. He tweeted out, he said, Cam Reddish said he's ready to go Sunday. Doubt he'll get many minutes, but would be surprised if Thibodeau DMP'd him, even if coach said today he has a rotation. So Cam is confident that he's going to get some minutes tomorrow. Said he'd be surprised if he was DMP'd. Interesting. He's never played for Thibs, though. So, you know. And then Tommy Beer follows that up with another interesting post here, tweet. The Knicks are listing Cam Reddish as probable for Sunday's game versus the Clippers. Then comes this. Nerlens Noel and Kemba Walker, both with knee issues, are both listed as questionable. Sunday is the front end of a back-to-back. New York plays in Cleveland on Monday, so Kemba may get the afternoon off. So, Kemba, who's played only twice in the last 10 games, now may get tomorrow afternoon off. This is the rotation that Thibs is protecting. The rotation that has given us, let's go to the record. Right here. 11th place, 22 and 24. That's the rotation. That's the rotation that he's protecting. Now remember, this is the team that overachieved last season. And partly one of the reasons they were able to overachieve is because other teams just were underachieving. You could say that about the Celtics last season. The Cavs didn't have Mobley. They were, a disaster last season. The Wizards actually, it's hard to say if they were underperforming, but they ended up on a nice run. They ended up going into the play-in. And the Bulls. All those teams are playing much better this season. Much, much better. Along with the Bucks, Nets, Sixers. The Hawks are, in the same boat as us. Celtics are also suffering. Obviously, you can see it right here. But Toronto is playing better this season than it did last season. So the battle to get into the playoffs is brutal this season. So whereby last season, when we were there, I'm going to pull this up. Whereby last season, when we were 2 games under 500, the Knicks, when the Knicks were 25 and 27 last season, right before they went on that run, they were in 8th place. So you can see, now we're three slots down, further down. That shows you that things are very different this season than last season. And we all know it. So what is Thibs really, what's he angling for here? Let's go back to this. Here's the thing. The major difference between last season and this season is the plus minus. How many points we score, how many points we allow. That's it. Plain and simple. And I'm going to show you something. Here we go. Last season, pre-All-Star, then right before the All-Star break, the Knicks were 19-18. So they were just one game over 500. They were 514, but their plus minus was a plus 0.5. The next 15 games right after the All-Star break, the Knicks went on a 6-9 slide, only won 400% of their games. 400. They were a 400 team, 40% of their games. But look at the plus minus, ticked up to a plus 1.7. Then, so right there they were 25 and 27, which I was just referring to before. Then the next 20 games, which is the incredible streak that we were talking about, they went 16 and 4, won 80% of their games, and the plus minus during that stretch upwards plus 6.2 to finish with a plus minus of a plus 2.3. Now you can see that this team was trending in the right direction. Now look at the Knicks. Right now, like we just said, we looked at before, they're 22 and 24, only won 48% of their games, a minus 0.5. Now in a tougher Eastern Conference, and here, as you can see right there, the Knicks haven't been a plus on the plus side of the plus minus since game 20 of the season, which was the game against Atlanta, November 27th, after Thanksgiving, a couple days after Thanksgiving. And that was the back end of a back-to-back. Remember, they played that Friday, then they played that Saturday. Saturday, 11-27-21 was the last time this Knicks team was a plus-minus team. Since then, they've gone south. So, requesting patience is a big stretch right now. Patience is the one thing we don't have. And why don't we have patience? It is because, I keep moving my stats around. Since the 2001-2002 season, get this, about 21 seasons, since the 2001-2002 season, the Knicks have only had 5 playoff appearances. That's it. In 21 seasons, only 5 playoff appearances. Only 4 times were they a 500 team or better. And this is including last season. So we're a fan base that knows that when a team starts going south, it may go south for a prolonged period of time. Too long for us, man. Way too long. Thibs, you have to get creative. You have to play Cam. You have to play Obi. Unless trades happen. The guys who don't have to play are Kemba Walker does not have to play. In fact, a lot can be said that playing him it's a lost cause, really, because even though he might give you a game where he's good, with his injuries and his knee problems, you can't depend on it. So it hurts the rotation. Then, you went ahead and you tried Burks as the starting point guard. Didn't quite work out. Derrick Rose, we don't know what's happening with him. I mean, he's recovering. Obviously, he's getting better. He's rehabbing. And hopefully by mid-February, he's on the court. That's like big hope. But let's say by the end of February, well, there's a lot of games from now until then. And so here we go. The Knicks are going into a 22 game stretch coming up right now, of which 15 of those games are on the road. And it includes 2 brutal West Coast trips. This team could be much further down than 11th place. I mean, right now we're in 11th place, but we're really only a half game away from 10th. Really just from 8th place, we're 1.5 games out of 8th in this situation right now. If all things stayed the same, so we're pretty close. But we could easily slide out. We could easily get down into that neighborhood down there between Indiana and Detroit, unless this team wakes up and gets it together. Now, unfortunately, We're suffering right now because Randall is in total disarray. He hasn't spoken to the media in a day. I mean, it's like since 8 games. He did speak and he did have one practice press conference, but it's a while ago. We're suffering for leadership. It's looking like hopefully RJ will fill in that role, but it all comes down to Thibs and his choices. But here's one choice that Thibs needs to make. We need to start Immanuel Quickley as the starting point guard on this team. And let me explain. And let's also stop with this whole thinking of, but he's not a point guard. Either is Burks. So it's irrelevant whether he's a point guard. It's what he brings to the court. His energy. Is he shooting lights out? No. Honestly, actually, if he was, it would make this case even easier. But we're going to focus on the plus minus. Remember the plus minus. Here we go. This is Kemba and Randall. 1,334 possessions, a minus 8.2 in the plus minus. Then you add RJ to that mix, a minus 10.6. So those are our two big guys with Kemba and when Kemba's on the court, he's the point guard. 1,062 possessions, a minus 10.6. Then what happened when you switched to Burks as the point guard? All right, it was 487 possessions, a good sample size, a minus 2.7. Now that's minutes, that's possessions without Kemba, Rose, or Quickley on the court. So that meant that Burks was the actual point guard in that situation. This is what happens when Quickley is on the court with RJ. A plus 5.2. Woo! Look what happens when he just Quickley and Randall. A plus 2.9. Whew! And then Quickley, Randall, and RJ together is a plus 8.8. So it's not and look at Quickley's stats. He's only averaging about 10 points per game, about 3 assists. But look at the turnovers. Only 1.3 turnovers, which is nice. 38.5% field goal percentage. Nothing exciting. His 3-point percentage is ticking up. It was actually much lower earlier in the season. It's ticking up. It's north of 34% right now. But we know that he can shoot around 39% from the 3-point line. We know what he can do offensively. This is a no-brainer. The beauty of this is you move IQ into the starting lineup, then the second unit is run by Burks or Kemba when he is available, and that immediately, and you're not going to put Fournier on the bench. If you're thinking, oh well, put Fournier on the bench for Reddish. No. Right now, Fournier in the last 10 games is averaging almost 17 points per game on 48% 3-point shooting. Almost 48%, 47.8% exactly, 3-point shooting. You're not going to put him on the bench. He's actually, but he's been inconsistent. He's been inconsistent, that's for sure. He only gave it, 6 points last game, 0 points a little bit further back, but he followed up that 0 points with a 40-point explosion. He's all over the place. And I touched on in the other video recently where he feels that if the whole team gets touches, or if the unit gets touches, the guys will be more aggressive. And that just makes sense. That's just his nature. Let's do this, man. We don't necessarily need a classic starting point guard for this unit to take off. The reason being because RJ, who should start handling more of the primary ball decision-making, the playmaking decision-making on this unit, he can handle the ball. Also, and we've seen that Quickley is very good at playing off ball, at being the two guard. He's a combo, really, is what he really is. But we've seen him when he's with Rose. Sometimes he handles the point. Sometimes he does. And most of the time, Rose handles the point. But there are many possessions where while Rose is on the court, IQ runs the show. We can do this here. It just seems like a total no-brainer right now. But it means that Cam Reddish has to play, because then he will then get into that second unit and give you the kind of, hopefully he gives you the dimension that you need. And also, a lot of times we're probably going to see Cam with RJ Cam will probably end up taking some minutes from Fournier on those nights that Fournier is not feeling it. So this could work. Thibs, I should have started this whole thing by saying I am a Thibs fan, but I'm not a Thibs stan. So I'm not going to just go with whatever you say no matter what. But I have faith that you will figure this out. I know there's no coach, nobody I know, no coach that wants to win as badly as you do. That is for sure. That is 100% you want to win. However, you need to figure out a way to get past the mistakes that you've made in the past and not let them come back and repeat currently right now by being so rigid with your rotations, by being so rigid with your minute allotment. You have to figure it out. Now is the time to experiment. I personally believe that this team is underperforming, that this team is playing below its actual talent ability. I'm not the kind that says, well, you are what your record are. I mean, that's not true. I do believe you are what your record says you are. However, that's also a snapshot in time. If we had said that last season when the Knicks were 25-27, then what? You just ignore those last 20 games of last season? So what team is this? I think this team is somewhere in between the team that it was last season and the team that it is this season, which means it could be good. And also, a lot of that is because of how tough the East has become. The other thing, too, to remember is we have the second toughest schedule remaining opponents. So we have to wake up. This is time. All right. Well, I hope I got through all my points. I believe I did. Oh, yeah. Here's in the last 10 games that we're only scoring 101.6 points per game. You know, and if you're worried about the defense is actually doing okay. We're only allowing 101.8 points per game. So the defense is doing its job. It's the offense that is not. The offense that is failing us. And a lot of that has to be attributed to Julius Randle. But the inconsistency in the point guard position has also crippled this team. Let's solve these issues now when there's still a chance to turn this season around. You, Thibs, are the one who said yourself, you asked for 10 games, then you said, let's wait till 20, let's wait till 30, and then suddenly it's 40 games, and then what? It's bullshit. Well, we're past bullshit time. Now it's time to act. Yes. All right. Thumbs ups, subscribe, drop your comments, want to hear them, and I will see you guys around the Knicks-Verse.